that sign, like when you pull in to that area on the middle island?
In the middle island, my concern with that would be the footings may very well be wider than the island, which would require curb removal, asphalt removal, significant,
So that stays the same way, that curb line
yeah.
where you
Do you
are?
have electric there already for the existing?
That's
sign?
exactly right,
Is there
yeah.
any tree removal involved?
No,
Right,
no
because
tree
the
removal,
weight
no
slopes
tree
down.
removal.
Right.
The sign that exists is very understated. It really should be
it
larger
looks
than it
terrible.
is.
Well, especially with the quantity of tenants. I've been in the sign business for almost 30 years now, and it, you know, we do a lot of these, and, you know, whether I build a big sign or a small sign doesn't matter to me. It's not a financial thing for us, and we're plenty busy. But I can tell you that based on what we do and what we've seen, and I sit on a ZBA board in the town where I live as well, so I volunteer there, and we see these kinds of things a lot. And I don't think we're asking for anything out of the, you know, out of the ordinary or out of the ballpark here.
All right,
That's why I'm here.
I just come from a long history on the board, and a lot of you guys are newer than I've been here a very long time. We're trying to keep this from being Long Island-ish with, you know, row store, row store, row store, right?
Sure,
And
absolutely.
you have a very characteristic sign. It's architecturally sound.
Sure. And as a board, you know, as well as I do, that, you know, you don't set precedents. You can, you
Right,
can
each
pick and
case
choose, and
is
each case is
judged on its own
different.
merits, and we
Exactly.
understand that. And I just, from my standpoint of the history on the board, we've always tried to ease
I
these
know.
down, so they're not, you're almost a 300% variance. I mean, our code is probably antiquated, and our town board are the only ones who can make those changes, but we have to stay within.
Being the size
Certain
that
guidelines,
this
too.
parcel is and the distance back from the street, we felt that I mean, we could have come in with a 35-foot sign. I mean, obviously, we tried to keep it relative to what other tenants along that roadway enjoy in terms of square footage on the street, which is about 5 or 6 square feet per tenant. Some of them even have more, and their buildings are closer. They have a single sign that are 30, 40 or square foot apiece, and they're right on the street with a wall sign, you know, so these people
Right.
are competing against those folks, you know, so given the fact that there's just a lot of tenants, you know, that's what makes it
Right,
so
it's
big.
it's an
And also, you could, you know, if you made it smaller, you could take the top off, you could, you know, but then it won't look as aesthetically pleasing as it does. You know, it starts to, you know, look condensed because you still want the same amount of tenant space, but you don't want to do anything to put any kind of architectural embellishments on the sign to help it look nice, you know.
All right, what kind of lumens, light-wise, at night are we talking?
Well, it'll
about?
be LED, which is a 6,500 Kelvin light. It's made to mimic fluorescent bulbs in our industry. It's
Right.
sort of, you know, made to follow that line.
Backlight, it's a backlight.
It's back, I'm sorry, yeah, it's internally illuminated, right? So the lights will be inside, you won't see any of them. It'll be a glow much like a fluorescent bulb would glow on any sign.
Okay.
Is there any bird deterrent system on that sign?
Not planned, not planned. I've never installed one actually on a sign. Yeah, it's never come up. That's the first one.
I was actually out there last week, not for this, but to go to the Verizon store, and the Verizon store is closed now, correct? Now, had I had that sign, I wouldn't have had to have driven in and gone to the exact location
Sure.
and found out that the Verizon store was closed. So I think this is a great idea. I wish it was here last week when I was there for Verizon.
I hear you.
Silvio, Bill, any comments?
I asked my
Sign
questions.
is better than looking down the hill when you're trying to drive by and
That's it.
Yeah. Coming from
That's
our
also the other
Colorado
challenge,
resident.
is to make sure that the print is readable without having to stare too long at it while you're driving by. And that's why this it's kind of a new format, where it's white background or maybe nicer, clear.
What material is the actual columns? Is that like a stucco
These
or
columns
stone?
here, yeah. Well, everything will be fabricated aluminum with an internal angle frame structure, and then what we like to do on these things is blow a synthetic stucco on it, and I mean like a hard concrete, break your fingernail sort of thing, you know, it gives it a texture almost like stucco. and
Sort
then-
of looks stonish. Like,
Yeah, it looks more like a built structure than a break-form piece of, I've seen, in my almost 30 years, I've seen some choice signs, and we've been doing this a long time, and we don't, you know, break-form thin metal and throw it together with pop rivets. That's not what we do.
And it's also going to match the brand-new ShopRite
yeah,
facade.
it does. They were in front of us. I remember
Yeah.
that variance.
Right. and some care was given to help emulate the architectural features of the building to, you know.
Until 10 years
I
from now,
don't
they
think you
decide
can
to change
reduce
again.
it because you just have so many stores in there.
And that is the
It's-
challenge.
It's a very large.
That is the challenge.
Shopping center. You
And
have
in order
to
to
have
give,
it.
in order to give these folks the same that everybody else has up and down the street, you have to have something that, of a good size. And again, when you look at it, you have to look at it in the context of its surroundings. It really isn't that big. You know, when you put it out into the world, it's not that large. It's just a big piece of property with a lot of tenants, a lot of open space, a lot of parking area.
Okay. All right, any input from the public on this application? I'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
No problem. I have some, I have small versions of these photos. Would you like
I
a?
think it's in our package.
We have,
These as
Yeah.
well you have?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and, okay, and the pictures of the signs around the area, did I give those to you?
No, but that's fine.
Okay,
Yeah, we get the picture.
okay.
We get the picture.
Have a great night.
You too.
Thank you.
Oh, when you vote on smaller items before the cell tower stuff, or are you going to go in order?
The vote's the vote.
I don't know if you have to go in order, you know, if you
I
sway.
don't have to, but I'll grant the courtesy. I know where you're from far away.
I'm coming from,
Okay.
about an hour and a half away, so if you could.
Yeah, we will.
You can always call tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
You can call tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true. Well, I don't want to put anybody out. If you have to do the tower, I know there's a lot of people waiting for
worries.
that too, so.
All right, application number 8, Salvatore Salvia for variation of 15615, seeking permission to construct a two-car freestanding garage. Property is located at 64 Stoughton Avenue, Mahopac, and it's tax map 64.7-1-2. Representing this evening,
Mr. Joel Greenberg. Hello, Joe.
Good evening,
evening, Joel.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Joel Greenberg for the applicant. 2 Muscat Road North, Mahopac, New York.
swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do. As you can see, if those of you who did not go out to the site, it's a rather long, narrow lot. And as you can also see from the site plan that we've shown, there is, the garage is being proposed where the requirement is 15 feet. We're going down to 10 feet. We discovered that the septic system is in this area, was just upgraded several years ago. And obviously, there are certain requirements between a building and septic field. So that's the reason for the request for this for the 5-foot variance.
All right, I was out there the other night. I mean, it makes sense because you're going to extend the garage, I mean, the driveway.
Right.
Where it's existing, straight to the garage. I did talk to the homeowner. The septic field system is right in that area anyway. And he did speak to the neighbors to the right and to the left.
Yes, we have some neighbors here who would like to talk.
Okay. I don't know if we could trust that one.
Yes, of course, come on down. You're the next contestant on The Price is Right.
Name and address, please, for the record.
Anthony Scanapieko, 68 Stoughton Avenue.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yep.
So help you God.
I have no problem with it.
That's a mic drop situation right there.
Man, a few words. Also, I have, Tony's on one side, I have a letter from the neighbor on the other side who also says, as resident of 60 Stoughton Road, we see no problem with our neighbor Salvatore Salvia putting a garage in his backyard. I'll give this here.
What's the name of the person?
Marlene Messina.
Thank you. And there to the left?
So you got both sides.
Got both sides, yes.
All right, it's clearly wooded in the back, and I think there's a fence right on.
Yes, there's a fence between, just
it's-
in front of where the garage, behind where the garage is going to go, and the rest of the site is very heavily wooded.
Architecturally speaking, you're gonna match the house, the siding,
Yeah.
the roof color.
Yes.
Is it gonna be stick-built, or it's not gonna be?
We haven't decided yet, but the architecture will be similar to what the house looks
Okay.
like.
But
long as
not,
that-
not a
that's fine.
Butler metal vertical
Yeah, no-
siding.
Oh, yeah, we're
Metal
going to have
roof.
metal all over. No, of course not.
Joel doesn't do metal.
You never know.
Joel,
No.
Did you say that the septic field is closer to the house, so you can't bump it up closer to the driveway? You can't move it forward to the street line?
No, the septic is in this area over here, so as the chairman said, we're just going to extend the driveway directly from the existing driveway, we'll lead it right to the garage.
So you wouldn't want to bring it forward even more?
No, because this is there's a play area for the kids in the back.
Oh, okay.
All right, John, anything?
Is there going to be electricity to that garage?
Of course,
Okay. How does it get there?
underground,
It goes underground?
yes.
Will it be grounded and bonded and number 5 wire?
That's it, just the garage, right?
Is there going to be
You
bird
have a way to keep the
deterrents?
birds off it?
Birds can go there, it's fine.
That's my new favorite part.
Fill in. No
No further
questions, thank you.
questions.
No question.
All right, any input from the public on this application? I'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. And Joel, you're representing number 10, Anthony Perricone, seeking permission to return to original lot lines.
No.
Property-
Monteleone.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm skipping here. Application number 9, Lori Monteleone, for variation of section 156.15, seeking permission for a lot line change. Property is located at 124 Shindagan Hill Road, Carmel, New York, and it's tax map 88.5-1-11 and sublot 1. Oh, that's sublot 1, and 87.8-1-12 sublot 2.
Okay, this is a very interesting thing, because discussing with Michael, we discovered there's a section of the code that says if you're creating a lot line change of more than 20,000 square feet, was that correct, Mike? That we have to go through the process. It's basically, even though we call it a lot line change, it's actually going to be a subdivision. So what Laura wants to do is, right now, this is what the two lots look like. This is the lot with the house, which is fairly small. It's got about 33,000 square feet. And the large lot, which is this big U around it, has approximately 4 acres. What we'd like to do is basically square off the house, the lot with the house on it, square that off, create a conforming lot. This lot will be, so this lot goes down from 4 acres to 3 acres, which is what is required by zoning. We have the proper frontage, we have the proper lot depth, lot width, and then what we want to do is create a larger lot here. So this goes from 33,000 square feet to almost 80,000 square feet. So this stays conforming. This becomes a lot more conforming. Again, it meets all the requirements for setbacks, road frontage, lot depth, and lot width. But again, because the exchange is more than 20,000 square feet, we have to go through the whole process as if it was a subdivision. So we're basically keeping one lot conforming and making the second lot a lot more conforming.
On the left, new property line on the left side of the existing house, as you go to the first break, there seems to be an old shed or structure or well house or something.
Now, that's a shed, that's
Is
going
that
to be
going to need a
removed.
variance? Because it looks like it's going to be close now to this property line.
No, that's going to be removed. That's going to be removed.
So we'll condition that as
You would want to see it,
part of this. It looked like it was dilapidated.
yes.
Okay. Board members, John?
What's the future of the land?
Yeah, well, of course,
We're going to do?
this lot already has a house on it, so this will remain the same. And eventually, as you can see, we shown the topography, and we had to show to the building department, and then eventually to you and to the planning board, that we have enough room to have a house that would have the proper setbacks, front and side, obviously in rear, and that we did some preliminary testing for a septic in this area over here, where the grade is less than 15%. So we feel that we have basically a buildable lot. That's what we're creating, a buildable lot, basically.
No further questions. Thank you, Joe.
So this was legitimately 2 specific lots from the get-go?
Absolutely, actually it is, because as the chairman read, believe it or not, these 2 lots are adjacent to each other. One wraps around the other, yet it's 2 separate deeds, and actually on 2 separate tax maps. Can't figure that one out, but that's the way it is.
Seen it.
No questions, thank you, Joe.
No question.
No questions.
All right, any input from the public on this application? I'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
By John, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, sir. All right, and finally, Anthony Perricone seeking permission to return to original lot lines. Property is located at 163 Orchard Road, Mahopac, and is known by tax map 74.26-2-22. Mr. Perricone?
Mr. Greenberg
Oh.
will be.
Oh, Joel, you representing also? Okay.
Triple billing, Joel.
Wow.
Gotta think like that.
This is a very interesting situation. This is in Lake Secor, and we put the county clerk's work to the test, basically, to find the original deeds. We found the original subdivision maps, and believe it or not, this subdivision, Lake Secor, was approved back in 1935. And interestingly enough, I have a copy of the original subdivision map, and at that particular, when the subdivision was approved, it indicated that a buildable lot was 2 lots. 1, 2. So every 2 lots here could technically be a house. But what we did is we tried to find out when this particular lot was eventually or originally sold, what was it sold as? And if you look in your packet, you should have copies of the deeds. I have copies here just in case.
Joel, I don't think we got copies of the deed.
I made 12 copies, but anyway.
We can hand them out.
Well, I gave one to the building inspector.
The deed. Thank you, sir. What, you don't know it by heart? You don't know it by heart?
Do you have a merger deed, or just the 2 separate deeds?
So basically, the deeds that I just handed out to you, basically, here's what happens. First, let me just show you quickly the original map. This is the original subdivision map of Lake Secor, and let me just read to you what the conditions are.
Joel, just grab the mic, please.
So the map was filed, as I said, in February of 1935, and these are the requirements. No building shall be erected or used on a plot of less than 2 lots shown on this map. And then, of course, back in those days, they required septic systems. Of course, now it's hooked up to a sewer line. But that was the major problem, the major condition of the subdivision. So basically, these lots, as you can see from the deeds, the first deed was dated in 1938, and if you look at the second page, when these first lots were sold, that's lots 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 4, 5, 6, and 7, which are these 2 over here, 4 over here. That was the original sale, so that was the original first lot being sold in that particular section of the subdivision. And then if you look at the second deed, which is a few pages down, that's from 1940. Again, if you look at the section where it indicates the lots that are being sold, again, these are lots 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So when this subdivision was approved, it was approved that each house had to have at least 2 lots. When these lots were sold, Lot number 1 was sold, as you can see here by the drawing, and lot number 2 was sold. So basically, what we're asking is to go back to the original lot layouts from 1938 and 1940. So, if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them.
You okay?
I'm okay. Yeah.
The shed that's behind the existing house, is that gonna need to come into conformance as a result of this?
Talk about over here?
Yep.
Yeah, that shed will be removed.
It has
Shed
to be
will be
removed to
removed.
do the subdivision,
It
because
has
there won't
to
be
be
a house on it.
And obviously, the deck that's behind the house encroaches considerably into the, what are you gonna do? Cut the deck
Yeah,
off?
that'll also be, or it has to be adjusted, because I believe that based on the setbacks, even the present requirements, because the lots are fairly small, there's only a 5-foot requirement for a side yard.
It's either 5 or 10, I'd have to check.
Okay.
How big is the lot, do you know?
The lot is,
Total lot.
let's see, about 10,000 square feet.
All right, so
So that's the smallest.
it's close to a quarter acre, so if it's at a quarter acre, it is, but then if it goes to the next, just over a quarter acre, then it becomes 15.
You have a corner lot here, too, that's gonna be created.
It's still the same on the side and the rear there.
The side and rear are the same for that.
That doesn't change on that.
Okay, I'm just saying, you're gonna lose the deck, and you're gonna lose the shed, right?
Okay, any
Try to
other
repeat
questions?
yourself. I don't think
Yes,
you
you're
heard
gonna
that.
lose the deck and the shed,
Yes.
okay? Silvio, any questions?
No.
No.
No question.
No questions, thank you, Joel.
No questions.
No questions. Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
Bird deterrence, you sure?
What's that?
All right, any input from the public on this application? I'll look for a motion to close the
So
hearing.
moved.
Or a second by Bill, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. At this point, we're gonna take a brief recess, and we'll convene in a few minutes.
I'm going to the bathroom.
approving the variances, then it's got to go back to the planning board for site plan approval. They approve it, it's a foregone conclusion.
It's not that bad, right? These people are all laughing. They said, "That guy's a busy guy." I said, "Yeah, he's the architect. Call him."
thing for them to do.
You're staying till the end, Joel.
In fairness, we're going to go with the residential properties first, in order. Okay? And semi-commercial properties. All right, Vinnie, you ready?
That's right, go backwards, John. Go from 10 and go backwards.
All right, we're going to go a little out of order here, so,
Do whatever you want, you check.
for application 3, Nemeth, I'll look for a motion.
Motion to grant?
Do I have a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's granted. New applications, number 4, Ragusa, look for a motion.
Motion to grant as amended?
And do I have a second?
Second.
And as amended, it was 3 feet for both existing, and a variance of 7 feet for side. Okay, that's granted as amended. Number 5, Banks Haroon
Vote
tip.
it, vote it, you didn't vote it.
What?
You didn't vote it, you just talked as amended. Take the vote.
Motion to grant?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to help you here, John.
Second?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now you
Right.
go.
Sorry. Number 5, Banks, you just wanted me to say this last name again, didn't you? Banks Haruntip. I'll look for a motion.
Motion to grant?
Do I have a second?
With condition, did you want to condition no graphics and no?
No, that's not the sign.
We're on,
Wrong one.
we're on number 5.
Number 5? I'm sorry.
Oh, boy, this is,
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, granted. Number 6, Mount Carmel Baptist Church. I'll look for a motion.
Motion to grant with the condition that there'll be no graphics and no flashing messages.
When you say graphics, you mean like pictures or videos or?
Yeah.
it has to just be wording and text only.
Just wording?
And did we want to say something about the photovoltaic?
Automatic
output?
photo cell, you know, where it would, dimmer, dimmer.
Do you
Yes.
agree to that
I
as
agree.
amended?
Yes, as amended.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Silvio. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, granted. Number 7, Erstat Biddle Properties. I'll look for a motion.
Motion to grant.
Second.
Do I have, okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, granted.
Aye.
Number 8, Salvia, look for a motion.
Motion to grant?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, granted. Number 9, Monteleone, look for a motion.
Motion to grant with the condition that they'll remove the chicken coop?
Or the shed, whatever it is?
whatever
Yeah,
it
I
is,
think she said chicken coop.
shed.
Okay.
It says
do I
chicken
have
coop
s-
on
Do I have a second?
Second.
the, second.
By Phil, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, granted. And number 10, Paracone. I'll look for a motion.
Motion to grant?
With the condition of also that the shed be removed and also the deck, I'm guessing, needs to be removed or adjusted?
All right, John, as amended.
As amended.
Okay, do I have a second? Second. Bill, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, granted. All right, back to the holdover applications. Number 1, Homeland Towers for the Lake Cassie, or the Croton Falls Road location. Do I have a motion?
Motion to deny?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Sure. First of all, being on the board as long as I have, it's really, and as being an attorney, it's really interesting and exciting to watch these attorneys that presented both sides here, and just the quality of the work that they both provided and the job they did for their clients. Also, the public response as being part of that, and the fact that this board worked really hard for this application and the sister application that's to follow. The burden is on the applicant, and reviewing everything, the evidence in front of us, the it is my opinion that the burden was not met, and that there was a lack of sufficient evidence to show that, that there is a need and that there is a coverage gap. And with this question of fact, I do not believe that the burden is met, and that the application should be denied.
And the evidence was not sufficient.
The evidence was not sufficient. I said that the evidence, there was a lack of sufficient evidence to prove question of fact, or there was a lack of sufficient evidence to show that there was a need and there was a coverage gap. So I do not believe that the burden was met and that the motion, the application should be denied.
All right, John, you had seconded it. Rosie, you recused.
I agree.
So we'll do roll call. Sylvia, you recuse yourself on this one?
No,
Second?
the next
No,
one.
not this one.
So, roll
So-
call vote.
So,
Or any other further discussion, I'm sorry.
well, no, I think Phil summarized it best. I didn't see enough evidence there for my comfort as well, so I vote in favor of the motion to deny.
All right, Bill?
I'm in favor of the motion.
Phil, obviously you do.
Favor.
John?
Favor.
All right, and I'm in favor of the motion as well, so it is denied. Application number 2 is Homeland Towers for the Dixon location. I'll look for a motion.
Motion to deny.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All
Second.
right, discussion?
Not to sound repetitive, but this, obviously, the application is very similar to the first application that we just denied. Again, there's a lack of showing of sufficient evidence to show that there's a need or that there's a coverage gap, and as such, the motion should be denied.
Okay,
Agreed.
I'll start down here. John, you're for the motion. You seconded it. Phil?
I'm in favor of the motion.
For the motion,
In
and
favor of the motion.
And I'm in favor for the motion as
I'm
well.
recused.
And Silvio has recused himself, so the motion is denied. Okay. Meeting minutes?
There's none.
None. We don't have
Do I know
none.
minutes?
Okay, so thank you all for joining us tonight.
Motion to good night.
We'll see you next month.
Throw this out. Throw this out.